I'm Yasufumi Hirai, advisor of Jane. This is going to be the last session of today. A new economy, the journey to build an e-government. This is a special session, talking to the CIO of Estonia. Networking party is soon to start, so please join us for this last program. Last October, we visited Estonia and 2 other countries altogether. And we met the president and also the prime minister at Estonia. And we witnessed the really advanced e-government system in Estonia. So ID card is widely used in Estonia, certification and also application, a driver's license, health insurance card, and so many different uses associated with this ID card. And as you may know, in Japan, we will start the so-called My Number card system in 2016. And we need to discuss the direction of this initiative. So we have the honor of having Mr. Taavi Kotka, and we also have government representatives, and we also have a director of Jane, and we will talk about how we can make this e-government service more convenient for the Japanese citizens. Let me introduce the panelists.
Estonian government CIO. Taavi has been running startups for more than 10 years prior to joining the Estonian government. So you are part of this community. Welcome.
Yes.
続きまして、衆議院議員。
Chairperson, IT Strategy Committee, LDP, and member of the House of Representatives, Mr. Takuya Hirai. He's a well-known person in terms of discussion of IT strategy, so we're looking forward to his opinions today. And we also have Council of Cabinet Secretariat and also Deputy Chief Information Operator, Mr. Haruki Mukai. So Mr. Mukai is leading the project for the citizen ID number system. And we also have a director of Jane as well as CEO of Future Architect, Mr. Yasufumi Kanemaru. Mr. Kanemaru is also a member of the Regulatory Reform Council, and hopefully he can share his views from his IT professional perspective. Although the time is limited, we would like to start the session now. To start with, we would like to ask Mr. Kotka to talk about how Estonia uses the e-government system in an advanced way.
Hosting the Jane executives back in November last year in Estonia. And I would like to ask you to walk us through what the e-government or what the digital society means for Estonia.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Thank you. They give me 7 minutes, so it will be quite hard to go through the history of Estonian IT. But no worries, we can manage. Small nation, we have to be efficient. So yes, my name is Taavi Kotka. In English it's David Eagle, and in Japanese it's some kind of washi. I'm a software engineer, and I have been doing IT all my life, since the beginning. I come from the country that locates in North Europe, and it's a small country, most probably 100 times smaller than Japan. But we also have lots of land. As you see on the screen, Estonia is actually bigger than Netherlands or Denmark on land-wise. So we have a problem. If you have lots of land but not too many people, you actually cannot serve all the nation. And you cannot serve it on a public sector side or either on private sector side. So you cannot have any bank office, or a bank office in every city, or you can't have a government institution in every small village. It's impossible. So it was clear to our government since the beginning, like 23 years ago, that we have to automate. And we have to push people to serve themselves. Another reason why they have to serve themselves is our weather, of course. I mean, like, we are living in the same latitude as Alaska. So, I mean, like, the weather outside today, this is our summer. So it's very good to be here in Japan. Though the rest of the 9 months, we have weather like this. And that's why Estonians and Finns are so good programmers, because we just have to stay inside of the house most of the year. And what else to do at home? You program. So knowing that people have to serve themselves means that our government had to do a very radical decision in year 2000. And the question was like, will we be a government on paper, or will we be total digital government? And our government decided that we have to be a digital one. So we forced, by law, people to use ID cards. So digital identity for Estonians is #1 document. Passport is not mandatory. Passport is needed if you want to travel to Japan. Inside Europe, you don't need passport, it's the ID card that works. And this allows us to use like total new type of technology, like digital signature, e-voting, all that kind of stuff. But that was not enough. We also issued so-called My Numbers to everybody. So every Estonian is numbered. And it's a public number, so everybody knows that. Private sector knows that number, and public sector knows that number. And why it's public? Because it's your digital name. So you're not ashamed of your physical name. I'm Taavi Kotka, but my digital name is 37901214915. Yeah, was it 6? Last one. So, and I'm not ashamed. It's my digital name, and everybody knows that. And if everybody knows that, it allows you to start put data together from different institutions. So we basically created something like this. So all institutions, government institutions, are connected through the methodology we call X-Road. What it means? It means that, for example, if person, like Ulman, gets sick in South Estonia, gets treated in South Estonia, but he lives in North Estonia and needs to go to the doctor a week later in North Estonia, all information is available for the doctor because all the hospitals are connected. All the government institutions are connected. Private companies, they can be also connected to the government systems. Of course, on picture it looks good, and don't get me wrong, it looks like a service bus, but it's not. The real picture of our e-government is actually this. So it's a point-to-point or peer-to-peer government system, where if if one green dot wants to get information from another green dot, they just form direct connection. I mean, like there is nothing in the middle. But what it means that whenever one or another institution needs information, they just ask from another ministry or from another company. So we can create tax declarations with one click, that you only need to do one click to declare your taxes, for example. Or, I mean, like, whenever you need to change your driving license, automatically the medical information will be asked from medical systems, technical information from the car authorities, and voila, you have new driving license sent to you back to home. Actually, you don't need a driving license in Estonia because as all the systems are connected and as all the police cars have computers, they get this information automatically. So when they pull you over, you just need to smile and wave, and the policeman takes care of the rest, because all the systems are connected. So we need, in Estonia, we have seen already last 14 years, 15 years, the power if everything is connected. Of course, this raises a question of privacy. And the thing that, I mean, like, if you break into one system, is everything open after that? It's not. Together with this kind of innovation, we changed a couple of regulations. And most important is that in Estonia, data belongs to the citizen, to the person. So the person can decide who looks at his data, who can change this data, what data can be put together, what cannot. And this totally makes sense. I mean, like, for example, I can check from patient records or patient log which hospital, which doctor has accessed my data. If I see misusage, I can make a complaint and that person will be fired. If the person gives that information to third person, like for the journalist, he or she goes to jail for 1 year or 2 years, dependent of how big is the penalty. So, and also what it means, having this kind of system, is that we are actually able to serve not only Estonians inside Estonia, but as everything is digitalized, there's no paper services anymore. Also, people who are Estonians outside from Estonia can participate in their everyday life and can be part of Estonia. For example, e-voting. I mean, like, we got 90 votes from 98 different countries last year in European Parliament elections. So Estonians from 98 different countries voted and actually obeyed their citizen duty. So what it means, if everything is digital and everything is I mean, like, you don't use paper anymore, and it means Mike, yeah? Everything is location independent. Then location doesn't matter anymore. So Estonia has started to create something similar what Lord Voldemort created in Harry Potter. I mean, like, you put your soul in different places. So whenever there is something bad happens. I mean, like, Japan and Estonia, we share one neighbor. And that neighbor is actually quite aggressive at the moment. It's not Finland. It's Russia. And I mean, like, historically it has happened that Russia or the Soviet Union has occupied Estonia. So to avoid that, and being total digital location independent, we actually can operate as a country without territory. It's possible. But if we are able to run our country like from the cloud, and we actually are able to serve Estonians all around the world, it raises a new question. We are 1.3 million nation. Can we actually be 10 million nation? Not 130 like you, but at least from 1.3 to 10 times bigger nation. Is it possible? We need that because, I mean, like, you are entrepreneurs, you know, like, if you want to get more revenue, if you want to get more profit, you need more customers. So what is our chance in Estonia to get more customers? Okay, we can start producing more children. These are mine. So I approached my wife, asking, can we become 10 million? I was kicked out from the room. So that's not an option for us. We have negative birth rate and we cannot fix that. It's an option for Egypt. I mean, like, in Egypt, their population grows 1.5 million every year. So, poof, one Estonia extra. Poof, Estonia, poof, Estonia, poof, Estonia. It's not our chance. Another chance is to do the same kind of things what Germany or UK or France or US has been doing. Immigration. You bring in more customers. But now you have to remember, we are living in latitude 59, Alaska. So what it means, like, you have Norway, Sweden, Estonia. And even if there is somebody who actually wants to come to the north. If you have choice, Norway, well, huge social benefits, money, and Estonia, where you actually have to make your own money. Norway. So immigration is not the solution for us also. So if Muhammad is not willing to come to the mountain has to go to the Muhammad. So we invented a new type of thing. We call it e-residency. So we are able to serve Estonians all around the world. So what it means that we basically are able to serve all of you. And if you want to be part of our society, if you want to use our economic environment, our services, become an e-resident. What it means is that you still live in Tokyo, but you can manage a company, for example, in Estonia, just sitting behind your kitchen. Inside your kitchen, behind the table. I mean, like, if you have a company in Estonia, it actually means you have a company in the European Union. Think about that. You have a company, you have a bank account, everything, and you just use your computer. And that's now available. So we started with that 1st of December last year. We have now close to 20,000 people in the waiting list, and I mean, like, we are still in the beta phase. So we started to give out these cards from our embassies since 1st of April, basically just last week. And these numbers, for you, they are small. But for Estonia, they are huge. We have around 50,000 active companies in Estonia. If you could have 10,000 more, it would be 20% of growth. So that's our way to increase our customer base. And let's see if we are successful or not. And we can always promise that the property and the money and everything is safe in Estonia because we have been doing the Lord Voldemort thing. So thank you for this short presentation. I mean, like, that you enjoyed that. I hope so. So if you want to know more, visit www.eestonia.com, and you find information about e-residency also. And yeah, don't forget to do babies. Actually, I have one more example to show if everything is working. I mean, like, I tried to show you how elections is working in Estonia. So can we switch to the computer? So I'm using my ID card that you will have next year. I will using PKI-based authentication and authorization that you won't have. This is candidates. Voila. That's voting in Estonia. So imagine that elder people, they actually like it more than younger people. In the beginning, we thought that younger people will use it more, but no. We mostly have our elections in March. What it means is slippery out there. And elder people, they prefer to vote at home because they don't have to go out from the house. So these kind of things you can build if you have my number and you actually do it properly, and you have ID card, or we actually prefer more nowadays mobile ID. So thank you for this.
Thank you, Mr. Kotka.
Sorry, we have a ceremony.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes, please.
I'm proud to give this e-residency card to Mr. Hirai.
Thank you.
But I can't vote. I don't have voting rights. I really coveted this card. I really wanted this card because if I have this card, I can go to Estonia. Well, I don't have to go to Estonia. In 18 minutes, I can register my own company, and if I have a bank account in 18 minutes. But I'm Japanese, so I don't have voting rights. But all other government services I can receive using this card. And you can file for this card on the internet soon. This is a wonderful device. Should I sit down? Yes, I will sit down. These will be very good reference points for the My Number system that we hope to develop in Japan. Can I start my presentation? No, wait just a moment. So we heard about the Estonian government and their most advanced state-of-the-art IT systems. Just a glimpse. But in Japan, as was mentioned, the My Number system will begin. The card will be distributed starting October, and from January of next year, the My Number ID numbering system will begin to be implemented. So we have today the leader of this My Number system, who is Mr. Mukai. So Mr. Mukai, from the perspective of the Japanese government, if you could talk about the My Number system. So this. Thank you. This is Haruki Mukai. Well, 2 years ago, I did visit Estonia with Mr. Hirai, and I remember I was so moved and so impressed. The Japanese government, from a little more than 10 years ago, have been engaging in e-government. But although we have progressed a little bit, we have many systems that we have to review about, and that is that we don't have My Number system. In Japan, of course, there are many ways to that you can read the Chinese characters. So it's very difficult to register by name. And so numbering systems is a must. And finally, in October, the My Number system or My Number cards will be distributed to all nationals and will begin operating in January. Of course, the uses are still limited, and the My Number system itself is still in the developing stage yet. So in that sense, the My Number system, I think, will be comprised of three things: the use of the number itself and the distribution of the My Number card. So the use of the card, of course, the card is embedded with an IC chip, which can enable you to do personal authentication, and this will be, of course, distributed and used for the private sector. And the third is we will create a My Number portal site where you'll be able to search for your own information, or you'll be able to view your own information. You can use this as a push system, or you can collaborate with the private sector. We want to make this a one-stop shopping single one-stop shopping experience as much as possible. So we have many things to learn from Estonia, but the Japanese government would like to promote this in a way that enhances the convenience for the Japanese people. And Mr. Hirai is at the core of this, and he's taking the initiative, the leadership. So I'd like to pass on to Mr. Hirai. Now, for Social Security and tax, and for various government services in the event of disasters, this My Number will be utilized. But I think the possibilities of My Number, especially in the private sector, are really multifold. So could I ask Mr. Hirai to talk about those possibilities? Well, the number and numbering system and the Japanese people have a legacy, a very sad legacy. In 1968, during the Sato cabinet, there was an idea of having an ID code to all people in Japan. But back then, we had arguments about will it be used to control people by numbers. So it was vacated. And then we had the bank online systems, which were introduced 10 years later. And at that time, there was also a proposal made of a national numbering system. But there was a lot of resistance and hesitation. So we did strike a compromise that is to place a number only on the pension books, handbooks. And of course, because people will own many such bank books and handbooks during their course of their lives, we had to vacate that option as well. So I think that up to now, the numbering system proposals in Japan have gone through many trials and errors. And then we had the Japanese resident residency leisure system, which did not proceed at all. That was because of the very big concern about the government controlling the national ID. And Yamatsuri Township was finally able to enter that residency register system, household register system for the first time after many years of resistance. So I think up to now, there have been some very, very strange relations between the numbering system and the Japanese government. But finally, because of the Democratic Party of Japan having proposed this My Number system, we were finally able to lay the foundations for the My Number system, but we cannot afford to fail.
We need to refresh our mindset first. It's not the state trying to control its citizens through these numbers. And as Mr. Kotka mentioned, the data actually belongs to the people, to the individuals. And it is being managed by the government on behalf of the people. So the data control rights still is with the citizens. And this is the point that we need to make sure that everybody in Japan will understand. So number storage or information storage should be done properly by proper institutions. And depending on the necessity, you can access the information of the number. As Mr. Mukai mentioned earlier, for many citizens, this My Number system does not make sense. It's too difficult, too complicated to understand. Some people say My Number, well, there's My Number card, and also My Number portal. And I think it's causing a lot of confusion among the Japanese citizens. Now, this ID number will be given to every Japanese citizen. And within the card, there'll be key for the digital signature for authentication. And I think this will have a huge impact because it's going to be available for private sector use. And this is shown both in Japanese and English, these slides. And you can see potential uses and applications with this card. So there's a public individual authentication and ID number, potential applications listed here. But we do not believe that this is everything, or this is sufficient. We want to expand the use of this authentication system with your help. And hopefully this will generate new businesses in the private sector as well. And My Number portal means that if you need some government-related information about yourself, then you can use your own electronic mailbox or official mail address and have all the necessary information sent to this mailbox or mail address. Depending on which stage of life you're at, you may need different types of services from the government, and this system can accommodate all those differences as well. My Number card should be fully utilized by the private sector as well. Being able to confirm the ID of the individual will provide us with opportunities to expand the business in the private sector as well. In Estonia, there are more than 3,000 services we provided. I don't think we can do that immediately in Japan. But according to this diagram, you can imagine that we can cover health insurance card and also the residential registry, as well as death certificates. Everything will be one stop. Ultimately, we will need to connect this with the healthcare system as well. And my personal belief is that this can be used for entrance to casino or even to the Tokyo Olympics. So this is the schedule, the roadmap until 2020. And if possible, during this session of the Diet, we want to make all the decisions, including potential use by the private sector. Otherwise, the private sector will not invest into this, doubting the possibilities. So in order to generate the demand in the private sector, we want to make our political will clear as quickly as possible. And that is why I'm presenting this roadmap here for the first time. Discussions will take place, but I personally believe that this is the direction that we're headed. I visited Estonia twice so far, and through the use of the internet, they're trying to make increase the wellness of the citizens and also further advance the nation as well. So they have made this clear decision to go into digital society, but I find it quite interesting. Well, earlier, electronic voting demonstration was shown. So at every election, you can still have the option of voting by paper. But if you go on the voting day and vote on paper, all of the digital votes that you have casted before will be discarded. In other words, you can vote as many times as you want electronically until the day of the final vote, which I find very interesting. So they started with a digital signature law in Estonia, and they built the government system from scratch, from zero. It's a very robust and simple and easy-to-use system that's available now. And the digital society is, they have the direction that they've decided to go to make their citizens happier. And in Estonia, you find the highest ratio of beautiful women in Europe. This was commonly said, and I found it to be true when I visited. So if you have an opportunity, visit the 3 Baltic countries, especially Estonia. I think the Prime Minister of Estonia is 38 years old, very young, and taking a strong leadership to promote this ID card system. Now, within the IC card, IC chip, I understand that there is some additional capacity. Yes. This card doesn't contain a lot of information. It's only 128. And half would be used by photograph and also digital signature key. The remaining 50% can be available for the municipalities or even private sector organizations. But we are not trying to put information in the card. The card will be used to access information which is stored elsewhere. So even if you lose your card, there is no problem, basically. And companies will have to take care of MIN numbers of their employees. So what is better? Well, paper versus electronic records. For example, tax-related documents are all paper-based right now for many corporations. So when MIN number system is introduced, why not take this opportunity to digitize everything? And if we want to do that, of course, we have to have a legal framework supporting this initiative. Now, Mr. Hirai mentioned that this could be used for health services, medical services. Is the Ministry of Health behind this? Well, MIN number is used for the administrative work of health insurance, and medical record information is not really part of that yet. But MHLW is considering connecting this system to MIN number. So as Mr. Hirai mentioned, it's very important to clearly define the direction. Mr. Kotka talked about driving license. Mr. Hirai, does your roadmap include driver's license? I could not show it on the roadmap because there was a strong resistance against it. I see. There is IC chip card, and also in Estonia, smartphone can be used as one of the authentication devices. So, Mr. Kanemaru, can you please share your view based on your perspective from IT industry? Yes, thank you. I've been sitting here for a very long time from the morning, and this is the first time I'm speaking today. I appreciate this opportunity to be able to speak. Now, I wonder how the audience perceived the presentation by Mr. Kotka. Mr. Kotka last spring visited our company, and up until then, well, before that, we went to see, for example, Digital Society in Denmark, and we did some interviews. And Mr. Kotka came to our office, and somebody mentioned the year of the Prime Minister, but Mr. Kotka is only 36, I think, because he was 35 last year. He's a very young CIO, and he's in charge of Digital Society of the whole government, which is very enviable. And although late, but better than never, Japan is introducing the mind of the system now, which is basically the last country of all the developed nations. And Mr. Hirai is taking the leadership to push this project through. And if the system evolves according to plan, the virtual world and the real world, the two societies will merge. And in Estonia, they have designed this system, including the option of increasing the number of virtual citizens. Now, we are late in the game, but we will be introducing the My Number system in Japan. And for medical system, of course, there are people who are trying to include the medical system in this My Number system, but we still need to change a lot of people's mindsets. People are still worried about the leak of private information. We have more than 1,000 trillion yen of debts, and every year about trillion yen of medical cost is increasing in this country. In order to reduce the cost, we need to analyze the medical data, healthcare data, and if possible, conduct a reform that will not cause too much pain for our citizens so that we can suppress the medical cost.
The administrative costs, which are caused both in the private and private sector because of the placing of emphasis on paper-based and face-to-face systems, I think should be revised. And when we do that, we should be able to at least finally stand at the starting line. So I think Japanese people are very good at catching up if we are shown a good role model. So I do hope that now that you know Mr. Kotka and the Estonian role model, probably we will see a hike, a sharp rise in the number of searches on Estonia e-government. Mr. Mukai is the leader on the government side promoting them, and within the LDP, the ruling party, Mr. Hirai is taking the initiative. So I do hope that the people in the audience will become the cheerleaders. Otherwise, because My Number is based on IT, its technology, it's very difficult to promote this nationwide. So we will, of course, do our part. We want to go ahead and perhaps, take a step even further.
Do you have any comment from your perspective and experience?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I have been working with the team already 2 years. I would like to make a small correction. And this correction is that if this My Number plan is well implemented, if it's accepted on both sides, and I mean the private sector and the public sector, and if everybody is starting to use that, Japan will be the first supernation in the world who's actually able to achieve that. So it's not true that Japan is the last one. No, I mean, like Germany has the same problem, UK has the same problem, US has the same problem. So whoever of these countries will be the first one to implement in a way that both sectors use it will be the first superpower in the world.
Thank you for your encouragement. 私もずっと IT 業界に長年いる
Well, I've been in the IT business for many years, and I saw Estonia's numbering system. But there's a common service delivery platform called KX Road, which has been in operation for 15 years, and the architecture is very, very solid. And I think that's the major reason for the advancedness of the Estonian system. So as we try to proliferate the My Number system in Japan, are there any concerns that you have about the system or any things that you want to point out about the system? Mr. Mukai? Well, from the perspective of system in Japan, our public system, both in the national government and local government, is still very, very backward. And it's very difficult to, do something new because of resistance. It's very sad. But centered around Mr. Endo, the CIO, we're trying to reform this, but it's very difficult because it'll take some time. But I hope that with the introduction of the My Number system, this will trigger a change in the IT system of the government, which is still quite backward today. Mr. Hirai, well, I pondered whether I should say this today or not, but as Mukai-san said, the Japanese government does not have much degree of freedom in terms of fiscal outlays. And probably the initial My Number system introduction will take about 350 billion yen. And to generate that budget, Mr. Endo, the CIO, and us are reviewing exhaustively the existing systems, although it's not reported much, and including the maintenance costs. We believe that 400 billion yen can be perhaps saved. So a 350 billion yen investment can probably be made out of this 400 billion yen savings. And this will be an investment into the future. We're confident about in implementing this. As Kanemaru-san said, there's a merger of the cyber and the real worlds. And this is called the cyber physical system, such as the CPS. But against that backdrop, the extensibility of My Number, I think it's very large. And the roadmap that I showed earlier, well, I didn't want to distribute this in paper. I knew it would be problematic, so I just showed it to you as data. But when you look at this roadmap, you can see that this is going to change Japan, the nation of Japan, to a great extent. We don't want to pass on this opportunity. Also, we want you to become the cheerleader, because if we fail with this initiative for My Number this time, I think that would spell doom for Japan. For example, creating a budget for medical services or creating an efficient social system to overcome the aging and decline in the birth rate. This will be our last opportunity. I talked about our very sad past. Whether there are still people out there who say that the My Number system is a means for the government to control the citizens. But please compare between the past and today. There's an increasing number of people who want to control their own information on their own, and I think that would really promote social advancement. So we do hope that the My Number system will trigger a change in government services. It will enable people to become more positive about receiving government services, and this will also promote the development of new private services. But for that to happen, we have to have a solid basis of public personal authentication. And of course, in the era of IoT, we need an authentication protocol for devices, and we need to sort that out. And so we have to, I think, work promptly to do this. And 2020 would be the target year both for fiscal reconstruction, the Olympics, My Number, IT strategy, all of the target years really 2020. And the next 5 years to be our last opportunity to challenge the My Number system again. So we cannot afford to fail on the My Number system, because if we have another failure, as we did with the residence register ledger system, then that would spell doom. Now, Jane has been making various proposals regarding the My Number system. So on behalf of the directors of the Japan Association of New Economy, Mr. Kanemaru, could you wrap up? Yes, this has to be a system that is used and accessed by many people. And if you have a physical card in your wallet, then I think the card will have to be used frequently. So we need a common platform for both the public and private sector. The card must be used in a common platform. So I do hope that the government, Mr. Hirai, you'll be able to promote the movement to pass an IT utilization law, a new law. And I think that all of you in Japan have smartphones, so I think we should also try to promote the exhaustive use of smartphones without relying too much on the cards. Thank you. I'm sorry, we've run out of time, so we cannot take any questions at this time. I'm very sorry, but we will have a networking party after this, and all of the panelists will attend the party. So I do hope that we can speak to you in person. Please catch us during the party. So this concludes the final session for the day. Thank you very much for your kind attention.